Thanks, Barb. Yes, for those of you who are curious, the fun tidbits I sent in, I love country music, and I can just picture myself on a stage with purple cowboy boots. So if you take nothing else away this morning, you can have that image in your mind. Yeah, Jim kind of teed it up for me here. So let's jump into overcoming conflict. So whenever I talk about this, people are always like, why conflict, right? I'm probably the only crazy person that enjoys talking about conflict. But what I've learned is it's really an underutilized empowerment tool. I have seen either teams that are low performing, even teams that are good but not great, and then we add this set of skills where they're able to advocate for themselves, they have strong communication skills, they can tackle obstacles that come up as a team and do so respectfully. It just takes their performance to the next level. So what I do is really the empowerment comes through how to handle conflict well, because every meaningful conversation, every meaningful relationship that we have is going to involve some conflict. Think of your most long-term relationships. More than likely, if this is someone that you trust, you've had some sort of disagreement with them, right? So how do we handle those moments well, knowing that it's going to come up? So the results of productive conversations, as I like to call it, because conflict puts everyone on edge, is we really need to create a safe space so that the best solutions rise to the top, right? We have trust, we can have these candid conversations where maybe people do not agree, but we really get to the best solution and no one's voice is left unheard. Another result, and one of my favorites, is we can truly measure the health of a relationship based on how we handle conflict. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But the gist of it here is the longer it takes us, like Jim alluded to, the longer it takes us to address the issue tells us a lot about the health of a relationship and how safe we feel in that environment, whether it's on a team, in a personal relationship, whatever the case is, it tells us a lot about that relationship. Conflict can also reveal someone's true character and how they feel about you. Whether or not they treat you with respect during the conversation, whether or not they respect your boundaries, can be very eye-opening if you pay attention to how you're being treated during conflict. And then the last one, I'm sure all of us can think of a conversation that we need to have that we're not having. And I think we all know how it feels to walk on eggshells, right? There is a stress that comes with trying to please everyone, trying to not upset anyone, to avoid assumptions about people or miscommunication taking place. So what I really work to do is give people clear tools on how to address the situation, whatever it may be, in a short, concise way so that we can clear the air and reduce the miscommunication and assumptions. So I do have folks go through a short assessment. And the goal of the assessment is awareness more than anything. There's no right or wrong answers. So what we're looking for is what is someone's default style when it comes to conflict. So the avoidant style, silence is really the best approach. So when we opt for this, we're really caring more about other people's feelings and preserving the peace more than coming to the best solution. An assertive style, this is someone who can deliver honesty without harm. And that's really the goal in all of the interactions, right? You know when to speak up and when not to speak up. And you don't nitpick at every little issue just because you're comfortable with conflict. And then the last style is the aggressive style. This is where conflict may be second nature to you, right? You say, well, if something needs to be said, I'm the person to say it. But the problem with this style sometimes is that the way that you say the message is not a way that it can be received, right? You have no problem saying it, but the person hearing it, it comes across aggressive, they shut down, and then it's not the most effective form of communication. So we see where everyone's at in the spectrum of their conflict styles, and then we give specific tools for each area. And again, assertive to me, the way that I describe it is either honesty without harm or being kind and direct. Because if you think about it, when you're being really kind, that's the avoidance style. That's when we're not addressing the issues. When we're really aggressive, that's the direct style, right? We're saying what needs to be said, but not in the right way. So when we put those two styles together, that's where we have that happy medium of being assertive. And a lot of people say, well, what if I'm one way at home and another way at work? And that's pretty common to have different styles depending on who you're interacting with. A lot of times we believe that our family members or our loved ones are kind of stuck with us. So maybe we're on our worst behavior at home. And that's pretty normal.